Hey everybody, it's FMPONE here to talk about DE Golden by Wavy Baby, Vichinsky, and Lukivald. And I'm gonna be honest, one day I loaded into this map and I just kind of was like, what the hell? This is goated. Um, and on the art side, it really is pretty superb. Take a look at that. Yeah. I mean, I could pretty much just walk around this map and not say a whole lot, and I think it would kind of get the point across. There's just a tremendous amount of detail and fidelity in the assets. All the lighting is working. Uh, the theme is very well realized and executed. You can really get down into the kind of nitty gritty as well. There's just detail everywhere, and it's all kind of very satisfying to look at. Very painterly, very pleasant. I would describe the mood and atmosphere of this level as enjoyable to be in. By way of slight criticism, I mean, you could have a little bit more of a subtle blur on these graffiti stencils, but I mean, what are we doing? We're getting down to that level before the map's just a visual feast. Feast for the eyes. Just a lot to look at, a lot to see. Really pleasant color contrast here of the blues and the ambers. It's just all very, very nice. So, how I would describe the visuals on this map is subtle and sophisticated. There are small issues like some props clipping into the world here, but generally speaking, you will not find issues like that in this level. Instead, what you'll find is 360 degrees of very satisfying detail. And yeah, once again, the subtlety of these roughness, uh, reflections and subtleties of these color tones. These are very kind of mellow color tones, but then they're occasionally accented with these very pleasant kind of color pops. You just gotta hand it to them. They did a pretty phenomenal job with the art on this one. It's fun to explore. Little details such as this grate. Just a lot of color even in this little grate, Just color everywhere. But subtle. Pleasant. This is a really interesting bomb site. I've noticed that there's just a lot of there's kind of a quirky, fun feeling in this bomb site. You can get up close on some of the materials, and I mean that's a very pretty tile. Really cool little engineering bits here. I think I've noticed in the past that this transition here is a little bit harsh to the void, but kind of end up nitpicking on this one, I would say, to be honest with you. If you really want to get into flaws or critiques, things like maybe the blending here could be a little bit smoother with a overlay or decal, because generally speaking the quality of the level is extremely high. Maybe you could have some kind of a color contrast here to indicate that this is maneuverable player space. But yeah, you just gotta love the subtle reflections. Love this asset, love the industrial feel of this. It's just so well executed and really nice. Once again, with the subtle blending and the subtle blending and the subtle blending, it's just all very subtle, just extremely pleasant. Maybe these windows are not really a great fit for the environment, but these are, for example. So then you've got some windows that are open, so there's just a lot of variety. And I want to linger on the sophistication of the roughness here on these walls. Like, it's not blown out, it's not overdone. It's just nice. It's just very nice. I love this tube. Take a look at the impact that this area makes on you visually. It's very striking, you know, very striking area, I would say. Colors, value contrast, subtle edge wear on this reds. One thing I'll point out, I've seen this on a few levels, is that we've got a big, enormous light. I mean, this is quite a large light. If you look at it, if you look at it in context, but it's not really casting very much light on the ground. Yeah. I've seen that occasionally. I'm not sure why that's occurring for people, but you can see it here as well. There's very, very faint shadow from the light, but that's quite a large bulb. It would be casting a powerful light on the ground. Like the way that the light is kind of behind this wall there. That's very cool. So one thing I'll say about this level is, you know, I know from my own experience of creating things, like when I am able to create something that feels effortless, not necessarily is effortless, because there's a lot of work that goes into creating a level, but when it feels effortless, that's an awesome feeling. And I would say that this level pretty much always feels effortless. So major round of applause for that. And yeah, there's just no shortage of cool things to point out and discuss. I mean, everything down to the trash on the ground feels like it's accurately reflecting the theme in a really aesthetically pleasing way. I love the way these subtle folds of this tarp. I mean, this is a valve asset, but look at how it's being deployed. It feels like it's a golden asset, you know, because we've got these also this red cloth over here. I mean, take a look at that. That's about as breathtaking a view as you'll see in a community map. I love the way the light is casting on this boat. I mean, it's really nice. And I want to also point out something about the structure of the architecture in this one. You know, we've got a dock here. It's butting up right against the level. And then, so what do we have? We have some water that's kind of leaking in under the ground level there, under the ground soil. This is environment art that I'm just so excited about, because it shows a depth of thought that's gone into the world and the environment. I'm just so excited about a community map that has this level of sophistication. You know, then we have this bomb site that's kind of got like this really epic feel, where the miner, once again, we're getting this subtle kind of, you know, it's really living up to its name, golden light from the sky. What an appropriate name for this level. Got a really interesting demarcation of the bomb site here. Really cool little kitchen. Kind of wish these eggs were like modeled out, but it's all kind of flat. Still looks great though. Asset quality on this map is generally extremely high. Like, check out this fish statue. And I like as well the damage to this pillar that's here. It's just subtle damage. Generally speaking, the pillar is in great shape, and then you get over to here and it's got some subtle damage that's kind of coordinating with this prop. Kind of feels very believable to me. Like these little machines that are used throughout the level. And another thing I want to point out about this level is that yes, it has kind of some familiar Asian kind of looks to it, like something like this with the hanging lanterns. You know, we've seen levels that have kind of explored that sort of a theme before, but the way it combines with this true to life sort of industrial mining facility theme is very unique, I would say, and I like the combination a lot. So just continuing to move through the level, again, we have these beautiful murals that just casting that nice light back, and so a lot of different technological aspects of the Source 2 engine are really being utilized here. Gotta love the combination of artificial and natural light that's going on. I also want to point out something, that the resolution of the textures is generally pretty excellent. There's some weaker areas, like some props like this where the resolution feels like it's not quite as good, but generally speaking the resolution is excellent on all of the assets, and it makes a big difference. You know, check out how cool that looks. Look at this subtle kind of paint effect. Very cool, and it's working really well up close, and it's working really well from afar, which is very typical of this level. It has that ability to kind of work at any distance or range, which I really like. Just subtle color coordinations here, and there's always just a satisfying level of detail in the world, I would say. So yeah, this is a strong one for sure. Look at the kind of puddles here and how nice that looks with the lighting. You know, this is one of those levels that you're almost desperate to find something you don't like, because it's, you know, it's hard to believe that you know, you could really be this consistent. I mean, there are some really cool areas like this. That mural like that. Occasionally you'll run into an asset which has a very cool concept, but you know, we're lacking some resolution here, so maybe it's giving away the fact that this isn't a Valve map, but the quality is certainly extremely high, much closer to a Valve map than your typical community map. Some lighting artifacts here. I'm not sure what's going on with the lighting, but you know, not a huge deal. I'd say maybe this texture I've noticed is a little bit lacking in believable contrast. It's kind of, but at the same time you're getting this nice subtle light from the sun during sunset, and wonderful geometry going on here. Check out these balconies, this balcony level that's just kind of inaccessible, but adding a lot of sophistication to the look. You know, this is one of those levels that you can tell they've thought a lot about the structures of the buildings themselves. It's coming across for sure. I think if I had to offer some sort of a criticism, it would be that a lot of the buildings themselves feel a little bit squat and small and diminutive. But at the same time, you know, it's affording you a vista of this gigantic kind of mining structure. So in this tower, it all feels pretty well thought out. And I would say most criticisms of this level visually are going to end up being sort of true nitpicks, truly insignificant in the grand scheme of things, because the overall look is just quite subtle and sophisticated. So check out the sound design in this area. Turn up my volume here. Yeah, so just a lot to like about this one. Quite impressed with it from an artistic standpoint. Quite impressed. Go out on this lovely view here. They weren't playing around with this one. They were not playing around.